Is that you, Yaya?
Yes, it is.
Hello, I'm so happy to speak with you again. It's been a while since you
Yes,
and
it has.
since you and Vivian and I talked about heroes.
Yes. Yeah, that was in what, 2020?
Yeah, and you have been a busy girl since then. I mean, FBI Most Wanted, you were spectacular on that.
Thank you
And
so much.
and now, Heart of a Champion, I can't think of a film better suited to you than one where you get to ride horses.
Right? I mean, this is perfect.
How did this doesn't happen too often for any actor where a role like this, because I know you love horses, I know you ride horses, and here it's all about Charlie and Chango.
Yep.
What did you think when this script came to you? Were you jumping up and down with excitement?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was so eager to get on tape for this. I was like, it has to be. I believe that it's meant to be, and I just like prayed and I wished and I hoped, and I mean, sure enough, I got it, and I got to play this amazing girl and ride and do one of my favorite things ever. Got the best of both worlds, like Hannah Montana. It was amazing.
And that begs the question, did you do I know you were doing the trail riding, the ring riding, all of that. Were you doing the barrel racing also?
Yes, so I'm actually a barrel racer in my real life, and I have a barrel horse, and I go to jackpots and rodeos as much as possible. So it was so crazy to me that I was a barrel racer getting to play a barrel racer. And kind of fun fact, the day that I found out that I booked it, I had just come from a barrel race. I was literally in the car driving home, sweaty, disgusting. I think I was like eating Whataburger with my sister in the back seat. Like, I was so tired and I was barely awake. And my mom was like, "Oh, I should probably tell you, you booked Charlie's horse," which that's what it was called before it, came out. But I just think it's so funny that I'm so immersed in the barrel racing world already, and I just got to do it even more. It was amazing.
Oh my God. Well, what's even more amazing is that insurance and your director and producers let you do the barrel racing because, as you know from working on something like Heroes, they get a little hinky there, worrying that you're the star and you might get hurt.
Yes, I begged and begged and begged and begged. I said, I do this all the time, 3-4 days a week. I am trained and I am advanced, and I promise you I will do everything in my power to not get hurt. My trainer teaches me how to fall off a horse without getting hurt. So I was like, I can do it, I promise. And they trusted me, and I'm so grateful that they did. There were a lot of scenes that I did where I kind of had to, like, gallop really fast. The trail scene with Zach, I was like, let's, this is boring, let's have fun or something. I don't remember what I said, but I, galloped off, and I was galloping on a path that had a ledge that dropped down into the water.
Oh, God.
It was a little nerve-wracking. And I just remember being like, please, you do not need a double. I can do this. Like, I promise. And they let me do it, and it was the best experience of my life because I kind of thought I was going to die, but at the same time, it was so much fun.
Well, I'm so glad you didn't die. I'm so glad that you and the horse did not go off the cliff. But
me too.
one of the big things whenever you're dealing with animals, as I'm sure you already know, but especially with horses, you've got to develop a rapport with the horses. That's something like all the guys on Yellowstone learned 5 years ago. They needed to get comfortable with the horses, and you know that from your own horses. So, because I know the horse Chango is played by a horse named Pepper. Very pretty horse, by the way. Beautiful horse. But
Love me.
I'm curious, how early did you have to meet Pepper and start working with Pepper to get ready for this film?
Yeah, so about 2 weeks before I started the process of any of this, I was in the barn almost every single day working just with my own personal horse. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to my riding, so I was tweaking anything that I felt like I needed. I was working with my trainer as much as possible. I had actually just come from doing a movie in LA, so I wasn't in the saddle for, or I'm sorry, not a movie, a show in LA. So I wasn't in the saddle for 3 months, so I kind of had to, warm up and get my muscles remembering how to do it, because you've worked so many different muscles when you're doing this. And then I met Pepper, I think like a week before we started filming. I brought all of my own tack and tried it on him. We did like 2 or 3 sessions together. We just walked around, loped, went out on a trail. It was great. And I just immediately fell in love with Pepper. And his little ears, when he was younger, he was, by a previous owner, he was left in a field overnight when it was cold, and he got frostbite on the tip of his ears. So they had to cut off the tip of his ears. So he has these little round, short ears that are so cute. And anytime the camera would cut, I would just like rub his little ears because they're so cute. I love Pepper.
Okay, so did anybody offer to give you Pepper as a parting gift?
No, sadly. I asked, and they were like, nope, he's ours. I was like, okay, I get it. I guess I'll go home to my own horse. But I was definitely sad. I cried a little bit when I had to say bye to Pepper.
Aw, something that I love with the character of Charlie, because in addition to bonding with Pepper, aka Chengo, is we really get to see you develop a nice relationship with Casper's character of Clint. And something we don't see that often, an older sister being nice to a younger brother. You and Major have a great chemistry on screen.
Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me, considering what I've seen from you in the past, and I know you're a good big sister to your own sisters. But you also get a love interest, a puppy love interest here too, with Carson.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
How did you work on? I'm sure that your first priority was the horse.
Yes.
Yes. But then you've got to work on these other relationships and dynamics in this film. How did you go about developing relationships with each of these individuals?
Yeah, so me and Major had actually worked on a couple of print jobs and commercial jobs in years past. So I already know him and his dad very well. And so it was great just kind of getting to step into that big sister role, which I am pretty familiar with, but obviously it's different because I don't have a brother. I have 2 little sisters. It's very different. Boys are so hyper, and
Yep.
it's a very different feeling from having 2 sisters. And so just getting to hang out with Major was great. I have never had a love interest in something before, so that was honestly probably the thing that freaked me out the most. I was so nervous meeting Carson. Carson is like older than me. He's 17. Mm-hmm. So we were 13 and 16 when this was filmed. And so I just remember being so nervous. And what was so funny was Carson was nervous too, but for different reasons that I was nervous. I was nervous because this was my first time ever playing a love interest. He was nervous because he's still fairly new. So this was one of his first times working in a movie, like his second or third movie. So we were kind of both nervous for different reasons, but very nervous. But we hit it off immediately, and we're still great friends. We go to the same acting studio, so we see each other all the time. I am best friends with Morgan Harrington, who plays my bully in the film, which is kind of funny. Fun fact, she's 23 and in college.
Wow.
Playing a 15-year-old. Yeah. But yeah, I'm such good friends with all of them. Getting to hang out with Casper, he's such a cool guy. We both worked with Robert Rodriguez, which was something that we kind of got to, bond over. My mom was definitely geeking out about Edward Furlong. I had no idea, why everybody was freaking out. And I was looking at him, I was like, have I seen him in something? I was like, no, I haven't. And then my mom showed me, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know what Terminator was. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I still need to watch Star Troopers and Terminator 2. I have not watched them yet, but they're on my list.
Well, you've got other more important things like horses to worry about.
Yeah.
Horses versus Terminator, Yaya. I got to go with the horses.
Yeah, horses all day, every day.
Now, what was this? Because you worked with some of the best in the business already. So I'm sure that you were a great influence on Carson, who still had kind of trepidation being new in the business. But you're an old hand. You're a veteran now.
That's what my family calls me. My family calls me the vet.
And that's what you are. There aren't too many, because you're now, what, 14? There aren't too many actors your age that have the depth of experience. They might have been working for a number of years since they were very young, but the diversity of the roles that you've tackled, be it on television, already FBI Most Wanted, and that couldn't have been too bad. Your mom probably liked the fact you're working opposite Julian McMahon, too. But you got this great depth of experience with dramas, such as with Peppermint as a feature, Purge. You worked with Jason Isaac on Dr. Bird's Advice, and of course, Robert. You bring a lot to the table. So that had to have helped Carson when you were working with Carson, knowing that you could buoy him and pick him up if he needed it.
Yeah, Carson did so good for how new he is. He really, you wouldn't know that he wasn't like a super established actor. And I always people will sometimes ask me for advice, and I always get so nervous because I don't ever want to overstep but I think getting to work off of each other was so much fun. He made me feel so comfortable. Fun fact, we were actually going to have to kiss at the end in the original script. They wrote, Charlie comes off of the horse after she wins. She hugs her family. She runs up to Zach. He spins her around, and then they kiss. And then we got there, this would be my first kiss, by the way. Carson Cunningham would have been my first kiss. And then we got there, and they were like, so you're not going to kiss? And I was like, oh my gosh, thank God. And he was like, what? I was like, I'm sorry, but I really didn't want to kiss you. Because I was freaking out. I was like, I've never kissed anybody before. This is going to be so bad. And then we didn't even have to kiss. And I think it made the movie great. Just he picked me up and spun me around, and it was very wholesome and sweet and innocent. But yeah, it was very fun getting to do those scenes because, girl runs into boy, drops the books, looks up at him, all those scenes that you see in movies that you're like, oh, that must be so cool to film that I got to do. But yeah, working off of each other was so fun, and we're still such good friends now, so I think that we both learned a lot from each other.
So now that you have added a horse movie to your repertoire, I'm curious, working with Brad, and this is a totally different film than what we've seen from you in the past. This really is, you said one of the key words, it's a very wholesome film. It's a family film. I wouldn't exactly call Peppermint or FBI Most Wanted family films.
Yeah.
But what did you learn in making Heart of a Champion? What did you learn about yourself and your craft that you can now take forward and use when you're looking at other roles, considering other scripts, or working with other directors?
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot. It was a fairly small cast. It wasn't a huge ensemble, which I had just come from, well, not just come, but, We Can Be Heroes was a huge ensemble.
Yeah.
And as fun as the process was, it was also very stressful because there were all of these people, and I was the lead of the film, and it was all of this pressure kind of on my shoulders. As much as they tried to not make it like that, it was kind of inevitable because of how many people were on that cast. But this felt like filming it felt very intimate because of, I don't know, the people, the crew, everything. It just felt very intimate and sweet. And I just learned a lot about how quickly a movie can be filmed because, we only had 3 weeks, not even, 2.5 weeks to film this.
Wow.
And we had to get out of there quick because the ranch that we were filming at was going to get demolished because it had gotten sold a week before we started filming. So we were kind of we tried to not be in a rush, but we were in a little bit of a rush. And so just getting to see how specific you can be about certain things with also kind of knowing that, time is of the essence. So, I remember seeing the call sheets and just seeing like 7 or 10 scenes that we had to do in one day, which I'd never seen before. It would always be like 2 or 3. So looking at this huge long thing of scenes, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way we're going to get this done. And then we get it done and even have more scenes to film. So it was just amazing seeing, even though we were working so quickly, I feel like the end product doesn't seem rushed at all. And that was a very cool thing to witness.
But now that begs the question, Yaya, how do you work in schoolwork? You've got barrel racing, you've got training, you've got caring for your own horse. I did have to chuckle when even in the film, you still had to muck out the horse stalls.
Yep.
You can't get away from that. But how do you work school in with all of this?
Yeah, I think people kind of overlook that about child actors. Doing school already in itself is so stressful. I kind of I try to get A's and B's and be a good student. Well, thankfully, while we were shooting Art of a Champion, I was kind of on my spring break, so I only had to do school for about a week because the rest of the time I was on break. So that was nice, getting to focus on horses. But what's funny is when I was filming Surfside Girls, it was in November, December, January, and it was right in the middle of my midterms for 7th grade. And it was crazy going from focusing on a 100-question midterm to talking about ghosts and pirates. It was just such a big switch that I had to flip of math brain and then actor professional brain. You just have to find the right balance, knowing, okay, I'm going to have 45 minutes to do however many questions or get as much done, and then I'm going to focus, eat a snack, and go work. There's little things that you can do, or at least that I do, to help me get in each mindset and switch quickly without being like, whoa, where am I? But yeah, I try to take my education as seriously as possible.
So is college in the offing, much like the character of Charlie, whose mom wants her to go to college?
Yes. My dream school is NYU. I'd love to go there for film. Yeah, I'm also very interested in psychology. I have a lot of different interests outside of, I'd also love to go to NYU for music. I'm a musician and I write songs, so I have a lot of different interests. I know that I'll definitely end up doing something creative for college or kind of something of the sort, but college is definitely in the picture.
Is there anything you can't do, Yaya? Music, songwriting, horse riding, champion barrel racer, acting, A's and B's. I mean, come on. You do everything.
I try to get myself immersed in as much stuff as possible. I have an ADHD brain. My brain goes like a mile a minute, so I try to get as many things done as possible.
You're making a dent in your bucket list for anything that you want to do. I see this. And it's such a joy to get to watch you grow as an actor, as a person, to see you take these next steps with a first time, quote unquote, boyfriend on screen. It's a joy getting to watch you on this ride that you're on. I can't wait to see what you bring us next. Are you going to do a sequel for Heroes?
We're supposed to. It got greenlit in 2020, or 2021. We have just been waiting. Robert has been filming so many movies since We Can Be Heroes has wrapped. So I think we're just waiting for the right time. All of us are older now, so some of us are about to be 18. I think there's 3 or 4 kids. Isaiah, Nathan, Andy. A few of them are going to turn 18 soon, which is crazy to think about. But I think we're just kind of waiting for the right time to film, and I'm so excited for when we do. I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for the email.
I'm chomping at the bit to see a sequel to that. And I wouldn't even mind revisiting Charlie in a couple of years when she's got...
That's what Brad was talking about. That'd be so cool to get to do another one of that.
Anything with you on a horse. Now you got to hit up Taylor Sheridan to cast you in Yellowstone.
Yes! Taylor Sheridan, see me, recognize me.
You know,
here waiting.
you don't need to go to cowboy camp. you're already ahead of the game. Oh,
It's so funny. Jen Landon was my castmate, co-star in FBI Most Wanted, and she's on Yellowstone, and she plays Teeter. And I'm just like, Jen, please, anything. I'll be an extra if I have to, just please.
and isn't Teeter the best character?
Best character on Yellowstone, Taylor.
She is right. Oh, you've got that down good. You could be doubling.
Yeah, I practice it a lot. I practice it in front of her. I don't always do it in front of her. And she's like, you're one of the best people that does that. I'm like, I know.
You are. Wow. If I didn't know it was you I was talking to, I would have thought that that was Jen who just pronounced Teeter.
Thank you. It's a huge compliment.
Oh, yeah. I know Danny's got you packed today. This has been so much fun getting to talk with you again. And,
Yes, you do.
and about such a fun movie. And hopefully we're going to chat again in the near future with some of your other upcoming projects.